Hey, welcome back to Already Overbooked. I can't believe we passed the 1 year mark on the channel. Time sure does fly when you're having fun. And since starting this channel, I've read lots of books, like honestly, hundreds of books. Some great, some weird. But these 10, these are the ones that stuck with me. The ones that made me pause to reread a line or just sit there thinking about what I just experienced. So today, I want to go through and break down my top 10 favorite books since starting BookTube. I'm not ranking these. I just want to give love to those fantastic stories that I've read since starting BookTube. So I want to start with A Shadow in Summer by Daniel Abraham. This is book one in the Long Price Quartet. And this one completely redefined what I thought fantasy could be. It is quiet, it is deliberate, and it's devastating. It is set in a city where poets literally give life to their thoughts, and the story follows a young man trapped between morality and loyalty as political intrigue starts to unfold around him. The economy, the diplomats, and the power all hinge on language and on the ability to bind an idea into a form. And where the balance then is threatened, so is everything else. And Daniel Abraham finds a way to build tension with this political, poetic, and tragic story in the silence. And the story is wrapped in a way that sits with you and lingers with you after finishing the story. It asks hard questions. And this is not a loud epic fantasy. It is a small, centralized, political type story. And I think that's why it stuck with me so well. It is a just a well written, smaller scope type of story. And I loved reading this, and it was such an amazing first installment of a fantastic series. The next one is not the first book in a series. This one is been multiple books, but it's the most recent in Michael J. Sullivan's world, and this is Drumandor. Rhyria is a series that I talk about a lot on the channel. It's really a comfort for me in fantasy reading, and Drumandor really goes through and proves that Michael J. Sullivan is just getting better and better at his craft. The story is about friendship, it's about loyalty, and it's about a tough world. And it involves around Royce and Hadrian, a thief and a swordsman who've survived a bunch of impossible adventures, and they find themselves pulled back into a mystery tied to an ancient power. There's humor, there's danger, and it has that signature Michael J. Sullivan charm, but beneath is the meditation on their legacy and what happens when heroes outlive those legends. It is heartfelt, it's heroic, and it's everything I want from this series. And the story brings in other fantastic stories into it. I don't want to give too much, but it shows a lot of love to one of my favorite stories ever told. So I just have a lot of love for Michael J. Sullivan and the world that he brings. So this one is Drumandor by the fantastic Michael J. Sullivan. The next one, we're going to be leaning into cosmic horror. and that is Discovery by the Minton family. And this is book one of Strange Eons. And this is cosmic horror, apocalypse storytelling, really done right. What starts as a curiosity leads to the world quickly unraveling, and the people realize there's something more sinister occurring, and it feels like a chess game, and the humans and the people on the planet are the pawns. Discovery finds a way to blend Lovecraftian with the cinematic intensity of Guillermo del Toro's The Strain and Stephen King The Stand, all together in this something perfectly blended together. It is dark, it is atmospheric, and it's deeply human. The story is about survival, sacrifice, the cost of knowing too much, and the Minton family crafts this terrific terror of a story and makes you sit and wonder with these fantastic characters. And the story is truly unforgettable, and I truly loved every minute of this one. So go through and check out Discovery if you haven't yet, by the great J.A.J. Minton or the Minton family. The next book I read earlier this year, I think this is one of the first 10 out of 10 books I read when I started. I think this was in my first month of BookTube. So it's been over a year, and I truly loved this story. And this was The Reformatory by Tarana Reeve Dew. And this story is so powerful. It's so haunting. It's so emotionally gutting. It is set in Florida in, I think, the 1950s or 60s. And it is inspired by a real historical horrors. This story follows a young boy who is wrongfully sent to a reformatory school, and then cruel characters, spirits, cruelty starts running deep within this for the humans, the supernatural elements as well. And things start getting chaotic, and you really start understanding the ghost of your past may never really be gone. And Tarana Reeve Dew blends this historical fiction with real life horrific moments, and sprinkles in that horror moments as well. And the trauma within the story echoes. And it is perfectly written with fantastic prose. It's one of those stories that really changed the way I see historical fiction. I expect so much more from historical fiction since reading The Reformatory than what I did prior. This story is memorable, it is fearful, and it's a book that has not left my side since I finished it October of 2024. Another story that lives with me in my psyche is We Used to Live Here by Marcus Cleaver. This book is eerie in the am I losing my mind or is the house alive kind of way. It follows a couple who has a random weird interaction where people show up to their house and ask to look around because they used to live there. And then that's when things start spiraling. And it really starts messing with the character's sanity. And it really starts messing with illusions. It plays with perspective and paranoia so well, turning domestic horror into something deeply psychological. This is a short but sharp and unforgettable type of story. It's one of those that once you finish, you have so many questions and you can reread it and find things that you didn't see before, or even talk to other people who've read it but might have seen it from a different perspective. But yet you both could be right on what is happening within the story. There's so much layers within the story. It's so well done. We Used to Live Here. Fantastic gem. Speaking of gems, this is the next book that I read that's on this list is book 3 in a series. A lot of these that I've been going over have been book 1s. This is book 3. And honestly, I could have put book 1 or book 2 on the list as well. But to me, this one was my favorite. And this was Demon in White, Sun Eater book 3 by the amazing Christopher Rocchio. I adored book 1 and 2. They were very impressive. This one is, for me, when the stories went from being impressive to legendary. The story follows Hadrian Marlowe, a reluctant hero, as he records the history of his life. And in this installment, he faces betrayal, mysteries, and terrifying consequences of his choices. It is a sci-fi done right. It's full of politics, it's full of philosophy, and that raw human emotional burden that really weighs down on our characters when their experiences this galactic historical moments. I truly love Hadrian. He is such a fantastic character. He feels so human, so mythical, and Christopher Rocchio writes his stories in a way that makes the story feel so real but so ancient at the same time. It is such a fantastic space opera. It's a fantastic story, and I cannot wait to go through and finish out this book series, because each book, seriously, they're all fantastic, but they keep getting better and better after each installment, and I cannot imagine the chaos that Christopher Rocchio is going to continue to push on each installment of this book series. Speaking of books that surprised me, the next one is Wistful Ascending by the great J.C.M. Byrne. And I was not expecting to love this book as much as I did. I'm not a big superhero story fan until I read Wistful Ascending. Again, it surprised me so well. It's about Rowan, who is half human, half superhero, who's working at a space station, just trying to live a quiet life after being a weapon for so many years. And of course, the universe doesn't want to let him go. So things start occurring. And the thing about Rowan that I really love about is he's so powerful. He's so strong. He can go through and just dominate. But he has a moral choice that he goes through with himself, that he doesn't want to go back to what he used to be. He wants to be something better. So he really digs into making better choices and talking through things and not just going from 0 to 100 and just being violent. He wants to do the right thing, even at his detriment. The story is fun. It is funny, and it goes deep into multiple layers of like loneliness, of purpose, of identity and going through and changing who you once were and who you want to be. It is that perfect blend of comfort and cosmic. It is such a well written story, and I am so excited to continue this series early next year. So if you haven't gone through and checked out Wistful Ascended, you are missing out, because this is truly a gem. Speaking of gems, this next one is a Frederick Bachman book. And anyone that's familiar with Frederick Bachman understands that this individual can destroy your emotions with words. So I'm specifically talking about Beartown. And I will be lying if I told you this book did not hit me in the feels. It 100% did. And it is about a small town hockey team who the town's obsessed with. The community's future rests on this junior team's championship, and then an act of violence fractures everything. And the novel goes through and explores loyalty, it explores silence, and the way people can justify terrible things to protect themselves and their community. And Frederick Bachman captures the humanity with such precision. Every character feels like someone you know or you have known. It is heartbreaking. It is filled with beauty. And I finished this one, and honestly, I just had to sit there for a little bit thinking about how fragile and strong people can be. And the writing of Frederick Bachman is seriously top tier, and I cannot recommend Beartown more. The next one is a story that I just got done finishing by an author who I talk about at least once every other month, if not every month. And this is F. Paul Wilson's Black Wind. And this is an intense historical thriller that spans decades. It weaves in Japan's rise to World War II with this supernatural undercurrent. There are characters within this story who really get entangled with each other and with this undercurrent of judgment and prejudice and nationalism, war. There's so much depth into the story, and F. Paul Wilson layers this story with espionage, forbidden love, and the tragedy of divided loyalty into such a fantastic, sweeping narrative. It feels very intimate and epic at the same time. It's layered, it's haunting, it mixes history and fiction and horror all seamlessly. It's easily one of the best standalone novels that I've read from F. Paul Wilson. No, it's probably one of the best standalone novels that I've ever read by any author. It is such a well-written story, and there's so much layers to this, and I cannot give any more love to Black Wind. It is top tier written work. The last one is a brutal story. It is chaotic, and I loved every minute of it. And this is Nick Horvitz, Sledge versus the Labyrinth. It is brutal. It is chaotic. It is a creative ride. The story follows Sledge, who's thrown into a battle that he never really wanted. It is action packed. It is funny, dark. It's darkly funny. And it's full of quotable, intense moments. And Nick Horvath takes what could have been just a pure chaotic nonsense and turned it into a fantastic action story. There's a lot about survival, there's a lot about self in this story, and it's really indie work done right. It is bold, it is unfiltered, and it's truly unforgettable. It is an 80s action packed, kick in the face type of story. It is top tier action in novel form. So, Sledge versus the Labyrinth, so much fun, fantastic story. And those are the books. All hit me in completely different ways. Some shattered me, some inspired me, some are going to linger in my head for years to come. And these are the books that really helped me keep going with the channel and made me want to start the channel in the first place, of finding fantastic stories and sharing them with all of you. Because to me, reading is just about escaping. It's about that connection. And every single one of these books did that for me. I have a connection with the characters. I have connections with the authors through their work, and then connecting with other readers and discussing these fantastic gems. And I loved every minute within these stories, but I really love the connection that I've had with other readers on how much they love these stories as well. If you've read any of these, let me know which ones you read down in the comments below. If for some reason you have not read these, you need to go through and add them to your TBR. You will not regret adding any of these to your reading list. They are fantastic. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe. You know what to do. Till I see you in the next one. Stay overbooked.